Are we live? We are live. I believe we are live. I am eating a bonbon at the start of this stream, by the way. Just so everyone knows. Hence why I'm chewing right now. Hello, everyone. Hello, Ben. Let's go, Cal. I know. Oh, thing's already gone off. In fairness to Cal Crutchlow himself, his times weren't even that far off in qualifying. I think it was like half a second off the guy in front of him. Obviously he's last, but that's also expected. No goujons today, no. It's too hot for goujons, mate, let me tell you. Way too hot for goujons. I think we are ready. Now, of course we're here for the return of MotoGP as we come into the sprint race for the Italian Grand Prix in Mugello. I said in the last podcast and the last live stream, Mugello is one of my favourite tracks for MotoGP because in the main straight. Jorge Martin, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, this morning it hit the top speed record. Oh, that's loud. What just happened? Gifted tier 1 sub. Thank you, mate. Thank you, lad. Yeah, Jorge Martin, who as you can see is starting third on the grid, set the record this morning for highest top speed hit in MotoGP, which was 229 miles per hour. Just deep that for a second. 229 miles an hour on a bike. When I say it, I mean this respectfully. Sod that, right? Absolutely sod that. But there is a fun little surprise for this one. Let's see if I've got this up correctly. Ready for the top right of your corner? Bosh! There we go. Webcam's active. Webcam's working. Had it in the recent podcast. And we have it also now for the streams. Hang on, there's a siren coming past my window. No, you're backed away from it. Anyway, hello. Now you see me get stressed commentating. And I've been trying to angle it. Also, so if you see why I'm looking, I'll run you through it. Up here, I have used this hand. This corner, I've got the stream for the race. This corner, I've got the stream. Check out that hairline, Ben. I know, look at it, mate. I told you it's going. I blame my dad for that one. On the right screen, I've got the stream. I can see what's happening. Left screen, I've got the timing. So I'm going to look in between here, and there all the time. And not really look at you lot. But I'm sure you'll find nearly as bad as mine. Ben, I would wager it's worse than mine. If you're coming through to F1A later on, because I'm working the evening, you'll see, I would wager that it's worse. But yeah, we are here for the Italian Grand Prix in Mugello. It is in all Aprilia front row in what is normally Ducati's homeland. Ducatis have made a fortress here the last few years. I think they've won the last 4 or 5 races. It's an all Aprilia front row, and as you know, Aprilia and Ducati aren't exactly the best of friends. Nothing to do with me. Thank you, Dad. But that curly tops with that number is my father, who has been bald since he was 25. So thank you for that one. But yeah, Aprilia and Ducati do not get on. They are not the best of friends. And in Ducati's fortress, Aprilia have locked out the front row. Marco Bezzecchi, who needs to recover from the Spanish Grand Prix, as does all the Aprilias actually. Bezzecchi did do a lap record. The previous lap record was a 44.1 by Marc Marquez last year. Bezzecchi set a 43.9. It was a hell of a lap to watch. That's pole position for him. The surprising one on the second row is, not second row, on the first row, middle of the first row, in second, is Raul Fernandez on the Trackhouse Aprilia, who has been in the shadow recently of Ayagura, but really came good last round before he decided to conk into Jorge Martin and take them both out. Fernandez starts second and he just pipped Martin for third. The staggering one here, the one, and he just proves he's the greatest, in my opinion, to anyone who ever sits on a bike. You'll see Marc Marquez is in fourth. 2 weeks ago, he had 2 surgeries. One is 7th one between his shoulder and his arm, so between here and here, his forearm, or his bike, whatever this area is called. His 7th surgery on there to remove the bolt that was pressing on the nerve, and he had a surgery on his foot because he broke his foot in Le Mans. He is the highest Ducati on the grid. I think in the end he was 2.5, maybe 3 tenths off pole position time, which is staggering for someone who's recovering just in 2 weeks from a surgery, another surgery, and has been injured all season. Highest Ducati on the grid in 4th. He is followed by Fermin Aldeguer, who did his lap on his own in qualifying, which again is impressive in itself. Didn't want a slipstream, didn't bother with one. Went on his own, got 5th, middle of the second row. And Pecco Bagnaia, who Has been quick this weekend, more familiar with himself, especially on the front brakes it seems, but then also when they tried to follow him in Q2, if you're wondering one on my phone, I also have the chat here on my phone to see because it's easier. They tried to follow him in Q2 and it didn't really work. Mark actually got bogged down in the last sector while following Pecco. Does this one work for me? No, it doesn't. But yes, Pecco is second or third in the middle row. Then we see seventh, DiGi Antonio. DiGi Antonio, I think, led every session coming into qualifying, but couldn't get the lap going when it was in Q2 himself and will start only down in seventh. Moreira, good performance from him on the LCR Honda, once again highest Honda. This way is now rumoured to go to the factory Honda team next year. Moreira is in eighth, his first Q2 appearance of the season. Morbidelli is in ninth. I don't think we might expect much from him, respectfully. And then we got Pedro Costa. Then we got the KTMs, and this is... I'm concerned about the KTMs because twice already this weekend, Binder's KTM has conked out down the main straight. Now, that's the reason for the crash that caused Alex Marquez to almost headbutt the cement wall last time out, and it's been doing that again. So I would not want to be in the slipstream of a KTM this weekend. Acosta's 10th, followed by another KTM, the Tech 3 KTM Bassini 11th, and finishing out Q2 was Alex Rins. You might notice I didn't mention Ayagura. That's because he was in 13th, so he did not make through to Q2. I prefer no camera. Shut up, Ben, you ponce. Prefer no camera. Everyone prefers a camera because then you can see my hairline. I've not been lying when I said it's on the way out, lads. Right? I've been a very honest man about that. The funny thing is, you're going to see how much my eyes dart from the screen to this screen and everywhere else. And if I get bored, you just wait until we do a Formula 1 stream, and then you're going to see the boredom come through. You haven't. I didn't expect that though. Oh, yeah, you haven't seen me with my short hair, have you? No, I did this, a month and a half ago now. Wait, it was a lot shorter than this. I went bald about a month and a half ago. And it's a lot easier, let me tell you. So much easier. Midlife crisis, yeah, my 20s. Mid-20s crisis, mate. So much easier, though. So much easier. You know, I'm going to get the first complaint out before the session actually starts. Anyone who's been in the stream multiple times knows, happened to be... Are you bald now? Yeah, anyone who's on the stream knows, I really, really dislike this timing system by MotoGP. I think it's... You did it the day before Mother's Day. There you go. Very specific, thank you. Yeah, I really dislike this timing scheme for MotoGP. It's laggy and it's delayed and it's frankly awful. I think if MotoGP want to improve their interaction with the fan base and they're going to make people... They're charging people to use this, make it decent to use. Make it like the Formula 1 one where it's literally pause and play and off you go. Not what they've done here, because again we're going to be late with the dots. You see the dots here, they're going to be here for the start. They're going to be delayed, and we've got to find out how to balance it with the stream I'm watching. But it is the way it is right now. MotoGP haven't invested properly into the timing pass or the video pass yet. They're going to need to if they want the sport to improve. And Liberty Media, surely Liberty Media will. My best friends at Liberty Media, they're doing all the wrong things away from the track, so maybe they can carry on doing that by keeping this system. Anyway, we move past that. Of course, it's bone dry in Mugello. I'm expecting... My favourite part of any race weekend in Mugello is this lap 2. And when I say lap 2, I mean the start of lap 2, because that's when you have all the bikes coming onto the main straight for the first time, ending the opening lap, coming to the second lap, and that's when you're going to see the moves into turn 1, a lot of them. I remember last year was the head of a clip between Mark Marquez, Alex Marquez, and Pecco Bagnaia, 3 wide going into turn 1. You're going to see when they hit the brakes, their legs are going to come out to dangle, and the wind is just going to take their leg away from them, which again is impressive to watch, how they're staying on the bike. Don't know how they do it, but they do. That's why they're there, and I'm here commentating on them. Ben, are you coming through to the venue later? Because they're showing the football, which I will be switching over the main screen if we know what club does win that trophy. I will not be watching that. I was thinking, when anyone doesn't know, I have to go to work later on. Then we show the big, we're going to show the Champions League final in the big LED screen. We have, work is F1 Arcade, by the way. And I'll be able to control what's on the screen. So I'm thinking, if Arsenal win, just before they lift the Champions League trophy, to change the channel to watching Tottenham lift the Europa League trophy. I think that would be worth it and quite funny. Thank you, Ben, mate. You're not that wrong. Ah, here we go. Now we get the flashy introduction scene that they copied from Formula 1. For anyone who doesn't know, again, if you've been here before for a MotoGP stream, you'll know I like to laugh and joke about how the Yamahas are doing. We have 1 in 12th. We have outstanding, wouldn't be what it is. Well, they did go 7 months, didn't they? Now I'm back, so let's see. PSG forever. Yeah, I know. We have a Yamaha in 12th. So that's a positive. It's in the top 15. The other one's a 17th, 18th, and you can't see down here. But you can't really see below 15th. I think that sums up, actually. You can't see on the stream below 15th because no one cares by that point. Toprak did suffer another crash on his Yamaha after the Q1 session, which was odd as he did his practice start. I don't think the Dream MotoGP move is turning out exactly how Toprak thought it would. But this is where we are. You know, he's got if he wants to prove he's one of the best riders in the world, it's good. It's all good being great in superbikes, but come over to this good and do it. That's all the talk about Nicola Bulliger coming over from superbikes as well, because he's going to win the championship already. And come maybe on the VR46 teams to, I imagine, replace DiGi Antonio or Morbidelli, as DiGi Antonio's rumoured to go KTM. I'd like to see Bulliger make the move, because I always like to see them try and prove themselves in the proper grid of bike racing, or bike track racing. I shouldn't say bike racing, because the TT's on now, and those lads are just a completely different level. How in time are we for this screen then? Let's find out. The track time has changed. This is just not going to work, is it? Which means I'm going to have to commentate and try and balance out the dots again. Love it from MotoGP. Couldn't wish for anything better. It's also annoying because they don't show the warm-up lap, which is so irritated for how this system works. It really is. Like, why is there an Aprilia here? No idea. But the riders have started a warm-up lap. The conditions are perfect for racing in Mugello. This is probably the track I want to go to the most. And I want to go down that main straight and watch him come into turn 1 at full speed at 220 plus miles per hour. And one day I will. It's in the hills of Tuscany. How we'll get there, no idea, but that's the goal. One shout out I'll give to Bezzecchi. He is because the camera's been on Aprilia all weekend because they have the new title sponsor, which is Monster. So that's not all over the helmets, all over the bike itself. Martin's had to take away his Red Bull personal sponsorship on his helmet because he can't have that while the team is sponsored by Monster. So that's quite funny to watch. Marquez had to do the same thing as well when he joined Factory Ducati. But Bezzecchi is wearing a helmet which is in tribute to Alex Zanardi, who of course is an Italian motorsport hero. Which I think is quite a nice touch from him. And it's working because he put it on pole position, so clearly it could be a good omen for him. Are these dots going to work? That's the question. Every corner on this track is perfect for bike racing. It's one of the tracks where I would always say to everyone, well, just watch MotoGP here. Even if the race is kind of dull, just watch what the bikes do here. Watch how they ride around this track. It's incredible, it's impressive, it's scary, it's daunting, it's fast. Rapid, actually. Where's my mouse? I need my mouse back to come here. Thank you. Sync with live video, it just doesn't though, does it? So it's pathetic. But okay, fine. As long as they're happy with their product. Was it last year? The drivers are now lining up to the grid. Was it last year when someone did the little stoppie they do at the start and went into the back of something? Might have been a year before. I don't remember. It's happened before. Someone's gone into the back of another bike on the grid itself as they do the stoppies. But we are lining up on the grid. We are waiting for the other riders. Bezzecchi is lined up into his first grid slot. Fernandez now in second. The front row is ready along with the second row. We're waiting for the stragglers at the back to fit in their grid slot as well before we wait for that gorgeous green flag at the back of the grid. The red flag's at the front. The safety car is just behind. Waiting for Cal Crutchlow at the back to go in his grid slot. Yep, I knew it'd be well off. That's just so annoying, these dots. So annoying. I've even tried to time it more as well, but I've paused it and it's still moving. But the gorgeous green flag is at the back. 5 lights are on. It won't be long before they go off. They are off. Bezzecchi gets a good launch. Marquez seems to have a good launch as well. He's going to be down the inside of Martin. And maybe Fernandez. Oh, there's smoke on the corner. Bezzecchi's Aprilia bobbing off now on the track. But with 3 wide, Fernandez, both Aprilias. And Marquez down the inside into turn 1. Marquez going to get all of it. Marquez is going to lead into turn 1. And Marquez into 4th. Marquez 4th into 1st into turn 1. The sport need him. The riders don't like him there because he's better than all of them. Martin's going to try to go down the inside of Fernandez into turn 2. Maybe to 3. It's not going to work. Bezzecchi's dropped down to 5th place as well from pole. Oh, Fernandez Martin bumped Marquez wide. He'll remember that one. He's going to get that back later on. Fernandez is leading. Mount Moreira is now going to go down the arc. So Mark did lead into turn 1, but he's now down to 4th, getting bullied. Moreira down the inside into 3rd on the LCR Honda. That's a hell of a start from all of them. Bezzecchi, poleman, dropped down to 5th. DiGi turn up to 6th. Pedro Costa also up to 7th from 10th on the grid. Pecca back nice and an awful start from 6th back down to 10th already as we're halfway through the opening lap. We've got Fernandez leading Martin Pereira and Marquez. That's a start to watch for Marquez. They just left him on the inside. I don't understand when they do that. We had 3 Aprilias, 3 wide into turn 1 on the left side, all of them. And Marquez just brake later than every single one of them. Bezzecchi got hung out to dry at the exit of turn 1 by his teammate, by the other Aprilia. And DiGi Antonio is in 5th place now. He's going to be eyeing up Marquez. We know if there's anyone who wants to prove himself against, it's going to be Mark himself, and he's going to do that, I reckon, quite early on. But does Mark have the longevity in his shoulder? Does he have the strength to make it move? DiGi Antonio down the inside already of Marquez. That's going to stick like that as well. It's a move where you can't really get the cutback because of the high-speed nature of the next 2 corners. Mark down to 5th. Remember, he did lead into turn 1. Remember, he's also in his comeback injury, and he is injured. Comeback injury, comeback race, and he is still recovering from 2 surgeries. But Mark down to 5th, and Bezzecchi's going to get him soon as well. Bezzecchi into the last corner. No, he backs against it. Mark, I think, is just going to call his pace to make the end of the race, but Bezzecchi will get the move. But here comes my favourite bit. We get the long line out into turn 1, down the main straight, get the right-hand device down, which should be banned. But the guy down main straight, already 200 miles an hour, already 210 miles an hour in the slipstream. Fernandez leaves Martin Pereira, DiGi Antonio, and Marquez over the line. We got the speed records down there, 360 kilometers an hour, 368 kilometers an hour by Marco Bezzecchi. That's with fuel on board. Marquez defensive down the inside. He's not going to make that. Marquez well wide into turn 1. DiGi Antonio will take that back. He did try to go down the inside of DiGi Antonio, couldn't get it stopped. No one was stopping that. If Marquez can't stop the bike, no one else will stop it. We stay the same order. Fernandez leads Martin Pereira, DiGi Antonio, and Marquez. Bezzecchi down 5 places. What an awful start for him. And Aldeguer down 2 as well. Bagnaia has dropped down to 11th as Ayagura has now passed him. He's recovering from 13th from the grid. Crutchlow is still on the bike. I remember we used to call him Cal Crashlow. A fun little joke. He is actually more talented than majority of people can never find. But Crutchlow is still 22nd, still surviving on the bike. Yamaha fight, so one is 13th. Quartararo is up to 14th from 17th. I really hope I don't mention Yamahas anymore down there. But we can see Marquez is not standing on the back of DiGi Antonio. I don't think he wanted to make the move into turn 1 himself on DiGi Antonio. I think just got sucked into the air and had to avoid DiGi Antonio. I've just punched my wheel. Had to avoid DiGi Antonio and run wide. But DiGi Antonio is all at the back of Diego Moreira. Look at Moreira, by the way, in 3rd place on the LCR Honda. He's got to come strong this year. This is the rookie year where he can have the time and the patience to let him learn the bike. But this is the first week, and he's really, I think, really shone. I think he's really showed why he was competitive and why he's the Moto2 World Champion, and he's up into 3rd place at the minute. But Martin is catching Ralph Fernandez. Bezzecchi is not going to catch these now, that's for sure. Bezzecchi, I imagine, will pass Marquez coming down the main straight now, but he's, I think, too far away to catch the other 2 Aprilias. That bike is too good. Bezzecchi's going to make a move into the last corner on Marquez. Mark's not going to fight him for that one. They're both going wide. Mark's well wide. Mark's almost in the paint there. He's going to have a head over ride coming onto the main straight, but really wide. Then Bezzecchi was forceful in that move, but had to make it down. Gone to the main straight. The bikes come down. Here come the 220 mile an hour chase again. Look at the speed these things go down that straight. A 44.7 by Ralph Fernandez. It's unbelievable what they do. Then they come over this hill. The legs are out. Marquez, I thought, was going to try Marco Bezzecchi in the inside of turn 1. Fought against it. Position stayed the same for another lap as we follow through again. You can't describe the speed of these bikes down that straight and how what these riders are doing on them. You cannot emphasize enough how they do it and what they are doing to entertain us. We're greedy for watching it and letting it entertain us, but it's a different level of bravery and a different level of speed. Anyway, Moreira is still hanging on. I thought DiGi Antonio would have been passed before turn 1, but Moreira is still hanging on in 3rd as everyone's kind of settled in. Bastianini has actually picked Pedro Acosta, so their little KTM battle, factory versus the Tech 3, is being led by now by the Tech 3 of Bastianini. I said earlier, the KTM bikes are not the ones I'd want to be following down this straight with the amount of time, those bikes are cutting out. There's DiGi Antonio, Arabiata 1. DiGi Antonio has a perfect move. He followed Moreira down the left-hander, made Moreira wait to go to the left, kink before throwing it right. DiGi Antonio stayed right down the inside of Moreira. That's P3 for DiGi Antonio. Does he have the pace to catch Martin and Fernandez? He'll have the pace to match them, but can he actually close them? It's one thing to catch them, it's another thing to try and fight with them and overtake them. And he's already, 1.4 seconds behind them already with, 8 laps to go. So that's going to be quite an ask for him. Marquez is trying to stick on the back of Marco Bezzecchi. And for me, Aldeguer's just staying within that 1 second mark. Marquez about going to the main straight. What you want is a slipstream down this track. That's the main thing when this race is on. If you don't have a slipstream onto the main straight and the guy behind you does, you're going to lose that position. Quartararo, I said I won't mention Yamaha, but it's funny, so I will. He was 14th when I last mentioned him. He's lost 2 places into 16th. I also said, let's watch Franco Morbidelli in 9th, and no one really expects much from him. He's down in 15th after 3 laps. So I continue to slate him because he continues to be bad. Back onto the main straight. We're on board with Acosta. We're seeing the speed. Watch this. 280, 290, 300, 310, 320, 330, 340, 350. We're going to reach 360. 360 down the main, 363 down the main straight. Look how big the speed climbs. Oh, is Bastianini going to be wide there? No, he's just kept it. The rear was sliding. That's how quick the speed... Of course, it's kilometres an hour, but whoever can convert that to miles an hour quickly, please do. But that's how quick these bikes build speed down this main straight. 363 kilometres an hour for Pedro Acosta there. And, of course, they hit the brakes and made the corner, as they do. Why wouldn't they? Order is staying the same at the front as well. But DiGi Antonio is not building into that gap, or not biting into that gap, sorry, to Martin and Fernandez. Fernandez has been mega impressive this weekend. I say this weekend, today. He didn't really show... He showed pace yesterday, but we didn't think he'd be competitive at the front. However, here we are, and he's leading the sprint race quite comfortably, and he was competitive in qualifying. So that's what he needs to do, because at the minute, all the talk is on his teammate Aigura in the Trackhouse team. No one really knows what's happening to Fernandez with his future. That stayed very quiet for some reason. The clash with Martin didn't help, but at the same time, Aprilia want to keep Martin. If he leaves, I don't think they're going to be short of replacements for him. That's the interesting part, sorry, of the rider moves, the rider transfer market. You may be wondering, why have none been announced yet? Normally they're announced early in the season. Welcome to what's called a Concord Agreement. Formula 1 did it back in the 70s and 80s, where all the teams agree on a certain deal, certain sanctions for certain things. And, of course, Liberty Media are bringing this in to MotoGP, and the teams can't agree. Imagine my surprise that racing teams can't agree on certain things. Wow. But that's why the delay in the moves are, and that's why there's so many rumours. Anyway, cameras are currently on Aldeguer, who, let's remember, Aldeguer is still on one leg. That's Marco Bezzecchi down the inside of Barrera into the last corner. He loves that move. Clearly, he did the same thing on Marco and pushed them both wide. Bezzecchi down the inside of the last corner on Barrera, back onto the main straight. He's going to have a run, but Marquez is going to have the slipstream down the main straight. Bezzecchi's going to have to go defensive if he wants to keep this position. Marquez is going to have a run over the line now, 220 plus miles an hour. Marquez has the track warning as well, so maybe he'll be calm into turn one. He's not going to make the move. Bezzecchi did very well there. But now it's going to be interesting to see, can Mark attack the LCR Honda? That's Pedro Acosta down the inside of Bastianini. He's not stopping that thing. Bastianini gets him straight back with the exit of turn one, leading into the left kink of turn two. Acosta, I don't think, again, similar to Mark at the end of lap one into lap two, I don't think Acosta wanted to make the move. I think he got sucked in, and if Marquez and Acosta can't stop the bike, no one is stopping the bike. 363 kilometers an hour is 226.5. No, thank you for that. Just imagine going 226.5 mile an hour with bikes around you. You're not doing that on your own. You're doing that with bikes around you. Acosta is stalking Bastianini now as we come into the middle sector of the track, going back down the hill now from the top. Acosta is drifting his KTM into the right-hander, down the hill into the left. Is he going to try to do the DiGi Antonio move on a Marrero? He's going to surprise him into the right-hander. Here he comes. Bastianini will cover it. Oh, I thought Acosta was going to make the move then. The chance was there, but Acosta fought against it. Arrabbiata 1 and 2 now. Coming to Arrabbiata 1 wide now on the exit on the left side into Arrabbiata 2. He gets a hill there. I said in the podcast yesterday, or the day before, it's a blind exit now. You can't see coming into this next right-hander, breaking down the hill. Bastianini has got... Oh, and he's down. There we go. I was about to say you can't pass into there because it's a tricky corner, and I said in the podcast, this is where you'll see crashes happen. We just saw on board Bastianini, I was going to say, sliding that bike into there, and then what happened? He dropped the bike. That's Bastianini out of the sprint race, all in his own. He's braking on the curb, and he's lost the front in the entry of that. Again, the predicted crash there, the usual crash there. I've just seen Morbidelli's crashed that as well, so that's going to be interesting. I hope that's not at the same corner, because that's going to be quite awkward if it is the same corner. Bear in mind, there's people in the gravel there as well, so let's hope there's not hit anyone there. Marquez is... Look at this. Okay, we've got my favourite angle again. Coming out the last corner, Marquez has a run on Diego Marrero now. By the way, that'll be a penalty for Morbidelli for tomorrow if he has crashed in the same sector, which I think he has. Marquez in the slipstream of Marrero now. Marrero's going to take the paint on the pit exit to cover the move. Marquez down the inside. He's not late on the brakes, so I thought maybe 100% fully fit Mark would have been late on the brakes, and Mark's running wide. This is where the strength in his shoulder, I think this is where it's kicking in. He can't get the Ducati into the right-handers. Remember, he hasn't been able to train that shoulder effectively all season because of the nerve damage he's had. Oh, not nerve damage, but the nerve feeling he's had with a bolt on the nerve. That shoulder is weaker than his left shoulder. Not a surprise to me to see him run wide at the right-handers, especially coming from 226 miles an hour. Yep, there's the camera on Morbidelli. I think that is the same corner as well. If it is the same corner, he still has a ride in MotoGP. He hasn't been confirmed next year that he doesn't have one. I don't think he will have one next year. And he's very, very lucky to have one this year. But I don't sign the contracts. But I just have a very strong opinion about certain people. Back at the front, Ralph Fernandez is leading Martin now by 9.5 tenths of a second. So Fernandez has built that gap to Jorge Martin. That was what I did not expect to see. Martin is holding second because DiGi Antonio has not closed the gap to Martin himself. Still 1.6 seconds between the two. David Brivio can't watch, who apparently is staying at Trackhouse Aprilia. There was rumours, I mentioned in the podcast the other week, where he might move to the factory Honda team. Apparently not. Apparently he's staying there. Whether that says a lot about the working conditions right now, factory Honda, who knows. Championship standings right now. Bezzecchi will lead Martin by 12 points if it does this. Acosta stays 4th somewhere. Where's Acosta now? Acosta is still in 8th. Since Bastianini fell off and came off his bike at the right-hander, Acosta's not been able to make movements and stayed in 8th. We come to the last corner again. Camera is back. You can see the way Marquez has his right arm up, that he is not comfortable still with that right shoulder. But he's coming out the last corner now. He's going to have another run as we go back onto the main straight. The right-hand device is down. Let's ban them, please. Marquez in the slipstream. Moreira will go to the inside. He's gone defensive. Mark's going to go around the outside now. Full speed over the hill on the brakes. The leg's going to dangle. Mark has got the move done on the outside, but can he stop Ducati? It's moving everyone at the braking. Mark is well wide, but Moreira's followed him. That's the thing. Mark's got the position done, but he cannot stop the bike. He doesn't have the strength right now to stop that bike into turn 1. So it's 2 laps he's been wide, but he has got the move done on Diego Moreira. He's fortunate because Moreira quite funnily followed him so far wide into turn 1, so he's got off one with there. But go to the replay at the start. Look at the launch Mark has. Mark already, as we go first 100, 200 meters. Oh, I think the smoke was from Mark's bike. So the smoke that I said what happened at the start was from the bodywork from the ride-out device kicking the ground, and that's what the smoke was. Bezzecchi got bullied into turn 1. You had Mark on the inside. Mark is all sideways into turn 1, outbraking Martin. Bezzecchi just kind of let them go in the end. Ralph Fernandez ran the outside. They had Martin in front of him with Mark on the inside. Bezzecchi arguably did the right thing to stay calm and let them have their moment. Oh, the replay show with 4 wide. That's Agura, Bastianini, Pecca by 9, Aldeguer, all 4 wide in the exit of turn 1 on lap 1. None of them touched, which is mega impressive how they're doing that. But back at the front, Ralph Fernandez now leads by 1 second over Martin. He's got this in the bag now, I think, Ralph Fernandez. Hell of a performance from him. And Martin has lost only a tenth to DiGi Antonio, who is still holding the gap to Bezzecchi behind himself at 1.6. Not much happening at the front now, which is a shame. Can be quite dull sometimes, but this is where we are now. It's just impressive to watch them ride as it is. Can Mark hold back Diego Moreira? Now I want to see if Mark can actually hold that turn 1 line. He's pulled a little gap to Moreira, so I don't think Moreira... If Mark gets off the last corner well, I don't think Moreira will have the pace or the braking ability to close on Mark into turn 1, but it's going to be interesting. He only leads Moreira by 4 tenths. 4 tenths is enough of gap, yeah, he's well more. Fernandez lost 3 tenths in that last sector, actually, so Martin's got the gap now to 7.5 tenths, which was over a second as we go into the middle sector. But Mark has easily got the gap, but can Mark stop the bike into turn 1 now? The camera, the director is picking up on what we all want to see. Mark now breaks into turn 1, his right leg is flying in the wind. 225 mile an hour. Can he make it? I think he's made it then. He didn't have to outbrake anyone. The one wide was actually his teammate Pecca Bagnaia, a few positions behind, but Mark made that one. So the problem is maybe he's outbraking, doesn't have the strength when he comes to the dirty air, when it hits him. He doesn't yet have the strength to bring the bike in. He's lost time in turn 1 though. I know it's got 6 tenths, so that was going to be maybe more, but I do think he has actually lost a bit of time in turn 1 into turn 2, but then he'll build that up back in the lap. But he still stays 2.8 seconds behind Bezzecchi, but he'll be happy with 5th considering what's been happening with his surgery. Johan Mir's pulled into the garage. He's retired from the sprint race. That's another retirement for Mir. I'll say it, this one's not his fault. Normally I enjoy slating Mir because he likes falling off, and we can predict he'll fall off. It's either him or Morbidelli. Morbidelli didn't let us down when he fell off, but Mir has actually broke down. I think Mir was running in about 13th, 14th. Anyway, it's just a nightmare for Honda, barring the LCR Honda of Diego Moreira. Oh, Fernandez, well, the corner bashed in, he fell out. I reckon Fernandez lost the front there, but he's lost at least half a second, maybe just under, into that right-hander. Aldeguer is now all over the back of Barrera in the same corner, but the Fernandez gap for Martin is now down to 7 tenths. Once again, Fernandez has to keep calm now. He's got 4 laps to go, with 3.5 at this point, but Martin is closer. Mark is still holding that gap to, what is it to Moreira? 7 tenths, and Mark's got to hold there again for another lap at least, but for me, Aldeguer has got a 10.5. Now, it's funny, because Moreira's in the sandwich of injured riders. He's got Marquez in front of him with one shoulder, and he got Fermin Aldeguer behind him with one leg, effectively. Aldeguer's going to make a move early into the last corner. I didn't expect that. I thought he'd wait to the straight, but he had the move. He's gone into the last corner. Moreira will have the run, but the thing is, Moreira's got to watch for Pedro Acosta, who's just 2.5 tenths behind him. Martin has closed it to under half a second now over the line. 4.5 tenths. Awful lap from Fernandez that time. If this was a good live timing system, I'd be able to see the lap times they did like I can in Formula 1. I can't do it in MotoGP, but they're showing me a 46.1 by Fernandez, 45.8 by Martin. That's 2.5 tenths quicker. 3 laps to go, the gap is 4.5 tenths. Bear in mind, these two don't like each other. Let's get on. Not a lot of people in the Aprilia camp like Martin anyway. And after what happened in Spain when Fernandez took Martin out, which actually is up for debate. There's some people saying Martin led in. I think it was optimistic by Fernandez trying to make the move anyway, but they made contact. They were told to race cleanly after that because Martin was annoyed because he warned that would happen between all the Aprilia riders, that the contact will happen between those two. They're blaming each other. I love that sort of racing. Let's get dirty and gritty with it when you're racing your rival. But we're at the front. The gap is now 5 tenths. Fernandez is very, very good in the second sector when you come back down the hill. Baby Stanley, hello Scott, mate. I'll see you later, Scott. I know that for a fact. The hairline is non-existent. Ben, your hairline's same as mine, mate. Let's remember that, right? I'll go bald at 27 with no shame. Has Cal won yet? Cal Crutchlow update, he's actually 19th. Because, you know, he did start last, but some people have fallen off and retired. So he is 19th, and he's... You can see my mouse, can't you? This is Cal here. Let's respect Crutchlow's effort. He's gained a couple of places for retirements, but Cal is here. He probably feels like he's been hit by a bus right now with how much his body is aching after not riding for a few years competitively to suddenly doing this weekend. You got to give him credit, he's staying on the thing. But you got Michele Pirro here. Now, you could pick up Pirro's performance as he's replacing, of course, Alex Marquez this weekend. Pedro Acosta down the inside of Diego O'Meara in the corner where Bastianini lost it. So that's a great move by Acosta. And you saw Acosta's front wheel bubble then as he hit the brake in. There was the chatter we spoke about. But Acosta now is up to 7th place, O'Meara down to 8th. But yes, Pirro here. One positive having Pirro race at this track is he's tested here 1,000 times. He's probably done more laps at this track than anyone else in history. So he's going to know it. But go down the main straight, I think Pecco Bagnaia is on the back of Acosta as well, which means he's got Moreira and he has. Slipstream Acosta's going to go ride there. Surely Acosta will run right into turn 1. No, he doesn't. Moreira does again, no. And Aguirre, it's a beautiful move by Aguirre. Takes their place as Moreira makes a mistake. Moreira is now down to 10th place after being 3rd just 4 or 5 laps ago. I mean, this racing is brutal. Is Marquez at this point more metal than human? Yes, he is. He's had... So between his shoulder, between here and here, so his shoulder and his elbow, he's now had 7 different surgeries on it. So yes, he is more metal than human, and he is still in 5th. I mean, he had surgery 2 weeks ago, so he's not human at all, actually. But, as I said, Moreira is dropping down, not surprised to see with the Honda, but Aguirre, once again, is finding that late race pace, but the worst thing is for him, is his teammate winning the race. So he's gradually turning into Terminator or Robocop. Yeah, he's a mix of both, along with his own blood cells of Marc Marquez. He's incredible. He's an incredible, I'm going to say human being, but I don't think he is a human being at all. Raul Fernandez has actually built the gap to 8/10ths of a second, so I think he is actually controlling the race. I think there's more in the tank if he needs it. Martin can't get closer than that. The one I want to see down the main straight is Acosta, Pecco Bagnaia and Aguirre. They've dropped Moreira now, and they will drop Moreira more, but you're going to have Bagnaia and Aguirre both slipstream Acosta, and that's going to be fast into turn 1. Acosta's late on the brakes, but if he drops the front soon, Acosta wouldn't surprise me if he's going to try to defend for them. But going to the last corner now, into the main straight for the final time. One more time round, if you start the final laps, what I meant to say, Raul Fernandez has controlled this since he took the lead early on. I think it was the opening lap, was it not? And Martin Bezzecchi's controlled the gap. It went down to 4.5 tenths just 2 or 3 laps ago, but he's put it back to 8 tenths. He is controlling this race on that Aprilia. What a bike the Aprilia is. The interesting thing for me, and now we know, here comes Pecco Bagnaia, there's slips on Pedro Acosta. We can't see the speed what they're going, but I can tell you it's bloody fast. But he can't. Oh, they're both late on the brakes. They are both late on the brakes. They're both going to go wide. No, Acosta made the apex. How Pecco Bagnaia did not go into the back of Pedro Acosta then, I will have no idea. But Bagnaia is beautiful down the inside of turn 2 by Acosta. He could have got it done to turn 1. It had to avoid Acosta's bike, but he gets it in turn 2. That's a stunning move down the inside. Acosta cannot respond to turn 3. You just can't do it when you get done like that. Acosta might try to turn 4. No, to far away Pecco. That's a stunning move from Pecco. That's the old Pecco on the brakes, on the front brakes, using that load on the front tyre. That's the Pecco we used to see, which won in the titles. What I was going to say was how he didn't go into the back of Acosta, because they were both incredibly late on the brakes. Aguirre, by the way, is going to rob Acosta. There you go, down the hill in the left hand. That's beautiful from Aguirre. Absolutely stunning. Down this hill, you did a flip-flop. Surprise him there. It was going to be into the move I predicted Arrabbiata 1, but he did it at a corner before. Acosta, again on that KTM, cannot respond. He must be spitting blood every weekend in that KTM, because he cannot get the level of... The level of the bike cannot match the level of Pedro Acosta, and that's going to be killing him. If someone's ringing my doorbell, I will get that after the race. I don't care. But on the final lap, it's one of those ones where Fernandez has completely controlled it. He's built it out to a second now. I think Martin's accepted second place. He's built the gap to DiGi Antonio. Something else I was going to say before that all happened in turn 1 is Marco Bezzecchi has not really closed the gap to DiGi Antonio, which isn't a good sign for them tomorrow if they get the start wrong. Because DiGi Antonio can clearly match the pace of the Aprilias. The thing is that by the time he got up to 3rd, they were already gapped. He couldn't do anything, but they clearly all have the similar pace, or the same pace. Coming out the last corner now, Raul Fernandez does win the sprint race. A perfect performance from him on the track as Aprilia, and that beautiful Golf livery as well. Fernandez crosses the line, wins the sprint race. Martin a strong second. DiGi Antonio in 3rd. Nothing much changed there, keeping the gap to Marco Bezzecchi in 4th. Marc Marquez does hold on to 5th. I think we can all... If he can get fit, I expect him to be at the front. He showed it on the opening corner what he can still do. Is that Siobhan Evans? I think that's the WWE wrestler doing the checker flag. That's quite funny. Marquez 5th, Aldeguer the 6th, Pecco Bagnaia 7th, Aguirre 8th, Acosta could not respond in 9th, and Diego O'Meara rounds out the top 10. The KTMs didn't break down, so that's a positive. No one went, Brad Binder actually made the end of this race. He conked out in practice at a practice start, and also conked out yesterday. He conked out twice yesterday actually in practice 1 and 2. So it's not a good sign for KTM with their engine at the minute, but they all made the race this one, barring an air Bastianini. Cal Crutchlow's just crossed the line. Big up Cal Crutchlow. in 19th place. What more can you expect from him? But he didn't drop the thing. That's what they need from him, to not drop it and try and get around as many laps as possible. Crutchlow crossed down in 19th. Top Rack in 17th. Jack Miller in 16th. There's the Yamaha update. Quattaro can only do 14th with Alex Rins in 12th. So Rins actually is winning the Yamaha battle this weekend, which is kind of funny because he doesn't win anything often anymore. But you cannot slate Ralph Fernandez from that sprint race. I think he will now be one to look at tomorrow. The worrying thing for me is we saw then the pace, everyone on with lower fuel, the pace of everyone is very, very similar, which of course means the overtaking opportunities are going to be very minimal into turn one probably. But Fernandez, Martin, DiGi, as soon as DiGi got into third, I think the top three, and Bezzecchi in fourth respectively when he got Mark, I think the top four match the pace. So if one of them doesn't get the launch they need tomorrow, you're going to see them, I think, similar tomorrow with the gaps. Don't forget to rate out after your stream, Mr. Stanley. Don't know how to do that, mate. I really have no idea how to do that. I don't really know what that means, to be honest with you. How do I do that? Do you know how to do it? If you know how to do it, you can tell me how to do it, and then I'll do it. Because, frankly, no idea what that even means. But I respect it, thank you. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, tomorrow. It's a concerning sight when the gaps are like that, when they stay the same. It means... So you do... As I say in the chat, go raid my mate stream. He will love you for it. Okay, I will. I'll do it in a second. What's his... put his Twitch thing in the thing, and I'll do it. In the chat, and I'll do it. But, yeah, the top four... It's concerning when the pace is like that, because it means if one of them does botch the start tomorrow... Cool, I'll do it. If one of them does botch the start tomorrow... it's going to be hard to get the comeback back. We saw Di Antonio couldn't close the gap to Martin after getting to third, taking a few laps. I want to see... I don't think Mark can do more than that tomorrow if we focus on Marquez again. I don't think he'll do more than that tomorrow. We saw he struggled to get the bike turning into turn one, or stop really with the power and the strength of his right shoulder. Is it harsh to say? No, it's not, because you have to remember he's... again, the surgeries. He's coming back from not training that soldier, so not stopping at 226 miles an hour with the wake and the dirty air from another bike around you is not a surprise. But he held on to fifth. I don't think he'll do much more. He won't get near the top four tomorrow, but I want to see what he can do. Fully fit. Out again, safe again, injured. Bagnaia, I think, will be disappointed. I think Bagnaia, for most of the weekend, has been the leading Ducati. And then Sunny this morning, he was not. Marc Marquez again pipped him, despite injured. Aldeguer pipped in injured. And Bagnaia got bullied at the start as well. Absolutely bullied at the start, which I need to figure that out. Iagura had the late race pace. He got across to his head just before the end. It's not a surprise Agura has the late race pace. But again, it's a situation where he might have had good pace at the end, but where's the pace in the first 10 laps? As Ralph Fernandez led from start to finish. Anyway, that's going to be it, because frankly I also have... I mean, I'm calling this a job now, because I like doing it. I'm going to call it a job. I don't get paid for it, but I'm going to call it a job. But I do have an actual job I need to get to soon. So I'll leave this stream here as Fernandez is celebrated. They look knackered, and I'm not surprised. You try ride a MotoGP bike around this track in that heat for 11 laps. Tomorrow will be 22 laps or something, and not be knackered. But fair play to the Aprilias. They've made a great machine with that. Di Antonio third again, picking up the points he needs for the championship. I will leave this stream here. Anyone who knows this stream right now knows what I'm going to say. Here comes the plug-in time. Apex Apex on Twitch, Apex Apex Pod. Is it Pod or Podcast? I think it's Apex Apex Pod on Twitch. I should know that. Apex Apex Podcast on YouTube, Apex Apex Podcast on Instagram, and Apex Apex Podcast on Spotify. Make sure you follow all of those platforms, all of those four. I'm active on all of them. Some more than others. Maybe this one a bit more than others. We have a face cam now, which is funny to see. It's very weird talking to a camera, but get used to it. You can see as my hairline decreases as the days go on. And everyone, again, who knows the MotoGP format knows we'll be live again tomorrow at 1 p.m. for the main race. Join me for that one. I will, again, like today, be doing that mainstream tomorrow, then going to work afterwards. Scott, if you're in the chat, I'll see you tonight. We know what to do if the team we won't mention win the Champions League. And Ben, if you're there tonight, I'll see you tonight as well. Anyway, I will leave you there. Thank you for joining. Well done to Ralph Fernandez. I'll see you tomorrow.